Oh, I'm on. Alrighty then. Very good. Alrighty, folks. What's going on? My name is Von Ivan. I am going to be doing a run of Willow for the NES. I'll be doing the any percent category. And this is always a lot of fun because we've got some pretty wild stuff that we do in here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to showing this off, and I hope you all enjoy it. All right. So I tell you what, let's just go ahead and get started, and I'll explain everything as we go along. The timer starts now. All right. Oh, whoops. Hello. Oh, weird. Oh my goodness. All right. So here we are in Willow's hometown of Nelwyn. We're about to set out on a quest, but there's one thing we got to do first. We got to come and say hi to our friend Vonkar here. He is the town warrior. He's going to give us a long sword. This will be our first weapon of the game. And we'll go ahead and equip it right now. And the reason why we get this is because now in the any percent run, especially if you're going for like a PB world record or whatnot, you typically don't pick up this sword. You do a very complicated trick instead that doesn't involve weaponry. But we're going to do a couple things here for marathon safety. And the first is going to be to get to level 2. And we will get that after 15 kills here. And I'll explain why we're doing that in a second. We got plenty of time to explain stuff in this run, which is actually really neat. So I appreciate that. Also, everyone, thanks so much for the good luck. I appreciate it. Yo, I am a word just for you, buddy. Alright. These skulls can be a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with, but they actually gave me a really nice pattern and made killing them pretty quick. So, we like that. Alright. One more kill to get here. And there we go. You heard that little fanfare there. That tells me that I have reached level 2. Now, the reason why we want to get to level 2, now that we're in the village of Dew, is that we are going to get a magical spell in here. It's called the Heal Mace, and it's going to allow us to restore our HP. Now, in order to use the Heal Mace spell, you need... It costs 20 MP. Your maximum MP at level 1 is 17. So, without the level up, we wouldn't be able to use this spell. Now, in order to use this spell, we have to do a bit of a story trigger here, where we talk to this guy here, and he says, "You need to talk to my dad, who is the chief of the village. He's a bit troubled." So we're gonna go do that. So unfortunately, he's in like the far southwest corner of town, and we have to come all the way back up here. Fortunately, the chief's hut is right next to the exit of this town. So it helps. So he's like, "Yeah, what I need you to do is I need you to go up to the cave just outside of town, and I need you to liberate my friend Bogarda, who has been turned into a monster." So we got the Heal Mace spell. In fact, we're going to go ahead and equip it right now. And then we can get out of here. Alright, but before we go to that cave, we've got one little detour that we need to get to here. Now, this is why we want the Heal Mace coming up here. We get that guy stuck in the grass. Alright, but really what we need it for is these snaky boys here. Now, if you're a baller like my friends in the community like Sathdrash or Broadster, you do what's called task snakes, where you position yourself in basically a pixel-perfect way. Let's see if I can do it here. Okay, so see how I boosted through there and I only took 1 hit as opposed to 2? If you do that with both snakes... excuse me. If you do that with both snakes, which each deal 10 damage each, and you have an HP value of at least, you know, I guess 22, then you can boost through both of them at level 1 and you're fine. Ah, shoot. I was hoping we'd do the snake dance there, where you boost back and forth, but instead you just boosted me the same direction twice, which is not as fun. Alright, so we died there very intentionally. We're going to do a lot of excuse me. We're going to do a lot of death warps in this game. And death warps basically serve two purposes. One of them is that it's going to bring you back to checkpoints, which is going to save time on walking and stuff. And the other is going to refill your MP and your HP, which is good. Alright, so we talked to this guy. This is why we needed to give him that gold statue. You have to moonwalk backwards into this cave, otherwise the run is invalid. So we can proceed, which is nice. So here we are in the first real, like, cave of the game. We are going to get into a battle with the aforementioned Bogarda. I am not lying when I'm telling you that this boss fight that's coming up is easily the most complicated boss fight in the game as far as timing and positioning goes. But it's not that bad. Fortunately, because of what we're going to be doing over the course of this run, bosses, generally speaking, are going to be very... Killing the bosses is very simple. I think that's the best way of putting it. Alright, so we got a new sword upgrade. This is the Babel Sword. I'll be equipping it momentarily. Oh, I didn't want to take all that damage. Okay. Good thing I have the heal base. I'm going to want to use that before we get in here. In fact, when I get past this screen, I think I'll do my menu. Yes, okay, good. No more enemies until boss. Alrighty, here we go. So I'll explain what I'm doing in this boss to make it work after I'm done, but I really do need to concentrate on this. Oh god, I'm screwed. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna die. That was really rude. Alright. That really stinks, because we just lost like 2.5 minutes, I guess. Well, however long it took me to get through here. That was a very, very rude thing that Bogarda can do on very rare occasions. Oh, that horrible flashing! Oh my goodness. If only something could have been done about that. Okay, we can't unfortunately moonwalk into the cave here, but we did it once, so run is still valid. So, yeah. Alright, so basically just need to march through and do all this again. That's one of the nice things about this speed run for marathon purposes, is that if you die, it doesn't, like, kill the run altogether. Sure, it might cost you a minute or 2 or 3, depending on where you die, but it's not like a game over makes it impossible to progress. It just sets you back a touch. Now, and this is actually something that will absolutely come into play later on in the run. Anytime you're in a cave, a castle, you know, wherever, anything like that, and you die, anything that you've done in that, I'm just gonna go ahead and just reset this room. Anything you've done in that cave or whatever, items you've collected, levels you've gained, anything like that, if you die while in there, you get booted back to... Oh, come on. You get booted back to your last checkpoint, and you don't keep any of those things. So, like, I had to get the battle sword again. Okay. Come on. Don't be a jerk, dude. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. Now, so what I did there was I took intentional damage boosts off Bogarda himself because the axe that he throws does way more damage than body contact. So we use those iframes to allow the axe that he throws out to go back and to go forward and back through us so that we don't take damage from that and allows us to kill him at such a low level. It can actually be done at level 1. It's a little tighter to do it that way, but at level 2 with the extra HP, it's pretty easy. Alright, so here we go. I want to take some stings from these hornets here because as soon as we get out of here, we're going to want to do another Death Warp. So we're going to go ahead and just, while we're walking out of this cave, we're just going to go ahead and take a few bumps along the way. And that will make doing that Death Warp a little faster. Like, here we go, boom. That's actually good, because there's one more place where they can show up here. And I'll just take my final bumps there to get as close to 0 as I can. Without going over. Okay, I'll take one here and one from you, and that's good. No more enemies for the rest of the cave. So, the reason why I didn't just do the Death Warp in there is because of what I was just talking about. Now that I have stepped outside, if I die, then everything that I've gained, like the levels and the sword and the fire spell, killing Bogarda, all that stuff, I now retain that. We do this Death Warp here so that we can get back to the Village of Dew even faster, and then now we can exit on the west side, now that Bogarda is dead, and we can proceed. So, to follow up on that comment that Jiggly Saint made there in chat about horrible flashing, I am actually playing this on a patched ROM that was worked on by the great members of the Willow community, such that a lot of the flashing, namely from killing certain bosses, using certain spells, and most importantly, anytime that you die, there is a lot of just, like, very strident black and white flashing that is very disorienting, even if you don't have a photosensitivity issue. They removed the vast majority of that and just makes it much more aesthetically pleasing to watch, the run that is. So, that's cool. I always have to shout those lovely folks out every time I do this for a marathon. Alrighty, so these figures here that we're passing by on the left, that little kind of pink guy there, those are the brownies. We don't need to talk to them. They're just comic relief. They will prove very useful at one point later in the run. This screen right here that I'm walking through with the 4 treants, remember this screen. It is going to be incredibly important in a few minutes. But first we stop in this lady's house, and she says, hey, while you're here, I'm going to give you some medicinal herbs. I need you to find my pet bird, Poe. Poe's been gone for a while. I have no idea where he is, so if you happen to stumble across him, and if he happens to be sick, give him these herbs and tell him to come home. So now we set out to not necessarily find Poe. Spoiler alert, we will. But to do other things. Guy out of the way. Move in here. Alright. So on these screens coming up here, you see these trees that are just dormant. Well, that's going to change. When you get to certain kind of trigger points on the screen, they come to life and they throw fireballs. We can just do a little dodgeroo there and avoid those. We stay along this top of the grass here and they always miss, which is great. Alright. Not a whole lot you can do about these skeletons. Let's see if we get trolled here by literal, actual trolls. We do not. Okay. So, this is actually important to talk about. Enemies appearing on screen. There are certain enemies, enemy formations, if you want to call them that will always appear when you enter a screen. And then there are some where they may or may not. It's actually going to come into play here in this cave, coming up pretty soon. There is an enemy that we need to avoid because we don't have the means to do any damage, any, like, substantial damage to it yet. And, we unfortunately can't just Leroy Jenkins our way through it. We need to despawn it. And it's actually coming up, I think, on this next screen here, yes? Are we good? We are not good. Okay. So we're going to do a little wiggle here and see if that helps with the RNG. It does not. We gotta wiggle even harder. Okay. There we go. Okay. We didn't wiggle hard enough the first time. So that kind of like ghoul-like enemy, we're going to see plenty of those throughout the run, only after this, when we do encounter them, we'll be able to actually do something about them. Alright, now, I'm going to go ahead and just as a precaution, get this magic equipped, because we're going to go through an area I like to call the Hellway. Let's see how nice the Hellway is going to be to me. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. That's even better. This is where it really counts. Yes. Okay. So, in those 3 narrow hallway screens that I just went through, there's a chance that skeletons can show up on either side and make getting around them very difficult. We went 3 for 3 in avoiding them there, which is great. What's going on here is I'm talking to the cowardly dragon Matanda, who gives me a thieves bracelet in exchange for me not hurting him. Okay. Not so lucky here. You see, these skeletons are going to make things a little difficult for me. I actually got around that, which is nice. Going up, it is much more difficult to dodge them than it is going down. We only saw 1... So, out of the 6 potential times we could have seen skeletons, 3 going down and 3 going up, we only saw them once, which is fantastic. If you see them no times at all, then it is no longer referred to as the Hellway. It is then the Heavenway. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and... Oops, no, not this. This, thank you. Alright, let's see if I can get this fire trick in here. Timing for this is pretty precise. Oh, didn't quite get it. Come on, charge down and die. Okay. Ideally, what you want to do is make that snake initially boost to the right, and that little fireball in the northeast corner of that circle just does continual damage to him as he's pinned against the wall and kills him very quickly. So, didn't quite get that, but that's okay. So this is Poe. So we found Poe. Poe was indeed wounded from tangling with Matanda, but we give him the herb and he's good. In exchange, he gives us a magical item called the Ocarina. This is essentially our teleport spell. We will be putting this to lots of use, especially at the end of the game, to just jump around, pick up, items, trigger points, things like that, to get to the end game very quickly and save what would otherwise be several minutes of just walking back and forth. Alright. So on this screen coming up here, I walk in this particular pattern there to avoid having a trigger where skeletons appear at all 4 of those entrances. So we do that. We have another sword upgrade here. This is the flame sword. This flame sword is actually going to put in quite a bit of work throughout the course of the game. Yep, see, we didn't get him here, so you know what we need to do? We need to wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay. Did that work? It did not. Okay, gotta wiggle harder. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay. There we go. See, you have to have conviction with your wiggle. If you try to shortchange the wiggle, it just doesn't work. I know this is a speed run and you want to just get through as quickly as possible, but respect the wiggle, folks. So what's really going on there is that whether or not that enemy will spawn is based on the frame that you enter the screen. If you just try to keep re-entering the screen, this is what the Thieves Bracelet does, by the way, is allows that wall to break down so that we can proceed. If you just try to walk right back onto that screen immediately after leaving it, there's a really good chance it's just going to keep reappearing. So we kind of need to just kill a little bit of time to kind of just juggle up that frame counter such that we will hit it on a frame where he will not spawn. So all kinds of mystic stuff going on here. And then we are going to be visited by the enormous fairy Sherlindria, who says, Willow, it is your prophecy to save the world, and you shall do so with this wavy stick here to my left. So she gives us a wavy stick. It is a magic cane. Right now it's more cane than magic. It's actually completely useless, but it will be very unuseless a little later on. Also, I saw somebody making a comment before about the bit rate. When the screen gets all wiggly like that with the the wind blowing, it typically wreaks plenty of havoc with the bit rate. So it's not just you. There isn't a whole lot that can be done about that. I mean, I suppose I could stream an NES game at like 3,000 bits. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Alright, we just boost through this guy, because we're going to pick up yet another sword here. This is a very unique sword. It's called the Devil Eye. The Devil Eye will only do damage to certain types of enemies, which I refer to as kind of like ghost enemies. And I'll explain what those are when we encounter them. That ghoul that I was wiggling to avoid in the last cave, that is a ghoul enemy, hence why I couldn't do anything with him. Alright, so that's Mad Mardigan. See ya, Mart. We don't need to talk to you in this route, and you will see why very, very shortly. So we're just going to walk by him. We're going to come over one more screen. Before we do, though, we're going to equip our ocarina. We've got to tag this screen with the bar, even if it's just for a frame, because doing so expands the places that Poe can take you. But for now, we're just going to go back to Poe's house. And what's going to happen next is going to be extremely funky. So, folks, hold on to your butts. If you cannot do it yourself, find a friend or family member that can hold on to your butt for you, because we are about to go into Funky Town by way of just zipping through this grass here and exiting a screen in a way that was very, very not intended. Oh boy, things have just gotten very funky. So basically what I've done is I've wrong warped into a tower that's about like 2/3 of the way through the game. And we're going to be doing some things. By the way, these bubble ghost enemies are considered like those ghost types that I was talking about. Hence why I equipped the Devil Eye so that I can actually do damage to them. Every other sword in the game does absolutely nothing. You just stab right through them, and nothing will happen. Conversely, enemies that are damaged by any of your quote-unquote normal swords are completely unaffected by the Devil Eye. So, it's a one or the other thing. Yeah, so right now, so we've entered this is just a spiral tower that you just climb floor after floor after floor. We've busted about halfway into it, and we're going to go all the way up. And grab the item at the end, which is called the Red Crystal. This is going to give us access to a required item in the game called the Crest of Spirits, which you need in order to trigger the battle with the final boss. So here we go. Old man at the top of the tower is going to give us the Red Crystal. Alright, we're done talking to you. We're going to use our ocarina again. I'll take you anywhere you want to go, as long as it's one of these 4 places. Back to Poe's house we go. We're gonna pop in, say what's up to Mom for some refreshments. And then we had so much fun in Funky Town that I feel like it is time for a return trip. We're gonna zip right through that grass there. Again, not at all intended. And now we're gonna go down the tower. We want to get to the floor of this tower and get that Crest of Spirits that I was talking about. That was rude. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Ah. Respect the wiggle, folks. Okay. A couple more floors to go, but now we need to equip the Flame Sword because now we're going to be encountering Hornet. Oh, whoops, and I also need... No, I need this. Thank you. We're going to be encountering these Hornet enemies. Please go away. And the devil, like I said, Devil Eye would just go right through them like they weren't even there. So we need to shuffle our swords around a little bit. We do this a couple more times throughout the run. Just knowing where those ghost enemies are going to be, such that you can plan accordingly. Alright, we're almost to the bottom of the tower. In fact, I think this is it, isn't it? It is. Okay. Alrighty. So we pop into here. And we talk to Wee Babby. This is Alora Dannon. She is the child of prophecy who will bring about the downfall of the evil Bavmorda. But in order to do that, we need the Crest of Spirits, which has just been given to us. Okay. Crest of Spirits is nice. But what's really nice is what I'm about to do next. So right now, you're supposed to be approaching this tower, and this is kind of like a dead end here where you get your stuff and then you go back and do whatever you're going to do. We're going to be going up the down staircase a bit right here, and in so doing, we are going to break this game wide open. Alright, so here we go. Walk into a cave, immediate boss. No thank you, boss. Let's re-roll. Okay, big scary skeleton face man. Alright, this is fine. This is fine. We're going to let him just slowly saunter his way down here, and we're going to slap him around a bit. Just keep slapping around. There's an invisible wall that separates. This is why he's not actually getting to me and doing any damage. Alright, we're going to show mercy on him, though. Take him down to like, basically 1 HP, and then leave. The reason why we didn't kill him is because the boss flag that activates when you get into the room with him is still active, as you can see by that vertical HUD over on the left, as opposed to just the little box that's normally in the upper left-hand corner. Now this is going to be really significant for what I'm going to do next. What I'm basically doing is I'm carrying this boss flag into a room with enemies, and what the game is going to do is it's going to assign that boss flag to the first enemy that appears on the screen. Now, that boss that we just fought there was General Kale. Second to last boss of the game. Here's what tripping his boss flag does. I have to set this up in a very particular way. The first one is the scariest to do here. Come on. Oh my goodness. This fly is not cooperating. I need him to keep going to the right. There we go. Oh my god, now what is he... Oh, you've got to be kidding. This game is absolutely trolling me right now. If I was on pace, I would be very upset at this point. Alright, so we've killed that first fly that appears on the screen with the boss flag. Tripping the boss fly gives us a little over 7,000 experience. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to go from having a little over 1,000 experience to having... Oh, don't you dare. To having a little over 1,000 experience to having roughly like 56,000 experience in the span of about like a minute or so. Alright, so that's my third kill. I need 7. Technically, you only need 5. I'm going to get 2 more just for a little more marathon safety. So that's 4. Oh, don't you dare. Shoot. I also need to be very careful about the damage I take here. Each of these guys deal 20 damage apiece, so if I get caught up in a bunch of flies, it's very easy to die. That's 5. The reason why I'm resetting the screen is like what I was talking about before. The boss fly only applies to the first fly or enemy that appears on the screen. Killing all the other ones on the screen would only give me the normal experience that they do, which isn't really useful, especially when I'm getting all of this ridiculous amount of experience that you see just ticking up and up and up and up and up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get from level 4 when we got into this tower. By the time we're done, we're going to be at level 14. But we're not going to want to be at level 14 until it actually occurs outside, and this is part of what I was talking about before. Anything that you do inside a tower, dungeon, whatever, if you die in there, it doesn't count unless, you know, if you haven't stepped outside. So as soon as we hear the fanfare, we're going to head back in, which should be right about... like now. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And the reason why is we're going to go back up to these flies. We're going to do another death warp. And this will be helpful, and I'll explain why. At level 4, when we came in here, my maximum HP was somewhere in the 90s, and my maximum MP was somewhere in the 60s. So keep those numbers in mind as you see what you're going to see in about a few seconds. There's a death. Like I said, every time you die, you get a refill on your MP and your HP. Look at the numbers now. They're both in the 230s. That's a big jump. So, the reason why we do that level grind, it is actually 100% necessary for 2 reasons. First of all, that cane that I was telling you about before that is currently useless, it is about to become very useful very soon. But first we gotta... Oh, hello. That was weird. Okay. First we gotta equip some magic. We're gonna do a return visit here. Scary spiky guy, no thanks. Scary skeleton face guy, yes please. We're gonna handle this fight a little differently this time. And now we're gonna kill this guy. Again, there's an invisible wall here. He cannot touch us. We are completely safe. General Kale isn't real. Oh, we're doing the Willow dance. Heck yes. I always like it when if you're moving when you kill a boss, he will continue his walking animation in place. Serious time here. We need to pay respects to the hottest jam in this game. So if you have cat jams, anything like that, drop them in chat now because you're absolutely going to want to. And I will go quiet here. Yes! The ending. Oh my god, it's just so glorious. The soundtrack to this game, generally speaking, is pretty good. There's 2 soundtracks that we're going to hear at the very end of the game, like in the last in the last tower of the game that are just magnificent. So be sure to stick around for those. Alright, so again, like I said before, we're going backwards as far as what's kind of intended here. This is normally this big kind of like island cave maze network that you're supposed to get through, fight that spiky boss, which is called Moose, who is, yet again, another person who was transformed into a monster. Moose has his lifelong love. Her name is Xena, and what you heard there in those jams... By the way, thank you for all the cat jams. That's such a great emote. What you heard there was her flute. Xena, unfortunately, has passed away, but the lingering melody of her flute remains to the benefit of all of us. Speaking of benefit to us, we now have what's called the Fleet Magic. This is essentially an exit spell. This is, as you would imagine, extremely useful. When you just need to pop into a cave, grab something, and just get the heck out, the fleet spell is going to save us a good amount of time. Alright. Hey, pain in the butt ghoul guy. Have my devil eye. You have my fire spell. Alright, so why we don't like those ghoul guys so much is because if you stay on the screen long enough, they will cast this spell which turns Willow into a pig. And while you have been impiggened, you cannot exit the screen, you cannot attack, you can't do anything. But what you can do is you can take damage from the bubbles that the ghoul starts to throw out at you. This is very, very bad, so we avoid this at all costs. Alright, so what's happening here is we are having a meeting with this possum. This possum's name is Finraziel. She is the messenger of the earth. Because we have the cane, and because we are at least level 13, we can transform her back into her human form. When we do, she powers up the cane such that it is actually useful. And you're going to see what use the cane is here. Whoops, no. Actually, no. I want to change this. There we go. Alright. So you're going to see what this cane is all about here. Alright. Falling rocks, can't do anything about these. Still can't do anything about them. That's okay. Alright, but this guy here. Have some bubbles! Yes. Vicious assault bubbles of death. That is what the cane is all about. It actually does a lot of damage to these enemies. So, for the time being, when they get in our way, we hit them with the bubbles. We can be pretty liberal about our bubble use because we're going to get a MP refill in the not too distant future. So, here, have a bubble. There we go. Just slap them with the bubbles, and you can just walk on through. Now, here's the funny thing, Smitty. If you go into that cave, and you are not level 13, then, much like the movie, Willow fails at his sorcery, and converts her into another animal, like an ostrich, I think there's like a tiger, there's a crow, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so we now have the monster's bone. This is the Spectre magic. The Spectre magic is incredibly useful. In fact, such that we're going to want to use it right away. We're going to wait till we get to the edge of this screen here, and then boop, we turn into this wiggly slimy boy. And we just scoot our way through this part of the mountain. Now, the significance of being this little slime here is that anytime you enter a screen where enemies would normally appear, they don't appear. So as you can see, we are just scooting through here with nary a care in the world because nothing is coming out to attack us. We're going to use these, as you can imagine, this is probably going to be used in several spots in the game, and your imagination is correct. That's Dirt Mountain. We're going to see Dirt Mountain quite a bit. We like to yell at Dirt Mountain. We also like to pop in here to talk to this old lady who says, I'm going to give you Thunder Magic because you seem like you can handle it. So, have fun. Oh, also have full MP and HP. There we go. Thunder Magic we're going to use in one particular spot in the game, just to make things a lot safer. Alright, we're almost done with the mountain. Just a little more to go. Don't need to deal with him. Ah. Just go ahead. Go around. Oh, here's Dirt Mountain. No, Dirt Mountain. Oh god, Dirt Mountain, please! No, Dirt Mountain, what are you doing? Alright. Here we go. We're gonna get all the way to the edge of this screen and bloop. Slimy boy again. Alright. I always love to ask this question when I do this for marathons. But what if you had to use a word to describe, like an onomatopoeia essentially, to describe the sound that this slime makes when it moves, what would that word be? By the way, you see all these little holes in the ground here? If I wasn't Bubbly Boy, these things would open up and they would actually do damage and block your progress. So, using the Spectre Magic there is actually required. So, it's also required at another point in the game. I won't spoil that though, because it's actually kind of funny. Get the Devil Eye on here because we're going to be encountering some ghost enemies. Now, the nice thing about ghost enemies, which these bats are not, but that, okay, like that guy is. Unfortunately, I can't really kill him in a convenient spot. Is that, and neither with that either. Okay, now this guy, however, I can. See how it leaves that little pebble behind that I just picked up? Each of those pebbles restores 10 of your MP. Oh, no, I can't do that one. And we actually want to gain a little bit of MP back. Are you going to cast magic? Or you're going to disappear? Never mind. Okay, good. You're going to kill there. So each of those pebbles restores 10 of your MP. Because we're going to be casting a lot of spells in this next stretch, we need some of that MP back. I need to collect at least 2, which I've already done, which is great. I would ideally like to collect 2 more in order to be able to cast an extra spell if I need it. So what do we got here? We got Glorp, Slorp, Bloop. Hold on, come here. Come here. Ouch, just one, please. Schlorp, Splorp. Flurp, Squelch, Schlup, Schlup, Vwup. Okay, I like these. They all, you know, I gotta tell you, like I said, I ask this question often when I do this for runs. And the general theme of responses that I get is right around what I'm getting here. Okay, there's another pebble. That's 3. Let's see if I get one more right here. No. Okay, that's fine. Again, like I said, I only need 2, but I would like to get 2 more just for a little extra safety. Alright, so pop into this cave here. We got a couple things that we need to do in here. Unfortunately, we don't have to go too far into this cave to do them. The first thing we need to do is talk to this Birdman. He's a member of the Eagle clan. He is going to give us a sword called the Wing Sword. Now, much like the cane when we first got it, the Wing Sword is basically useless. However, that will change a little later on in the game. It's going to get powered up and become the strongest sword in the game, actually. We will use it for fighting the final bosses of the game. I really don't want to deal with these skeletons. Okay, you know what? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. All right. Oh my god, hold on. I need to wiggle harder. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay, here we go. I think that worked. No, it didn't. Oh my goodness. All right. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. All right, come on. I don't know if I can wiggle much harder than that. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna try to dodge these guys, I guess. This is such an awkward place to dodge them, but wow, that actually ended up being a lot easier than it normally is to try to do that. All right, never mind, whatever. All right, first use of the fleet magic, but not until after we talk to this lady who tells us about a cursed bridge. We just need to talk to her in order to make that bridge. So that bridge now is complete, but we still can't cross it yet because it's cursed. Oh, jeez. So, we need to figure out a way to deal with the curse. Oh my god, stop it. Okay, I really need to keep an eye on my HP. But the nice thing is, because now that I have those extra pebbles that I was talking about, I can cast healing if I need to. I actually don't want to because I've got a planned death warp coming up in the not too distant future. So, if we can avoid restoring my HP, I would like to do that. But if I need to, then I need to, and I shall do so. So we're going to go back into the cave that we came from. Also, I love the footstep sound as you walk into the cave as Slimy Boy. One of my favorite little things about this run is just that goofiness of that. Oh wow, I can actually cast 2 extra spells now. That's kind of neat. Alright. Well, I think I know what I'm going to do with that then. Probably I've got a better option for it. Okay. So we're going to come in here, we're going to talk to this guy, and he's like, hey, I heard you've been having bridge problems. Take these witch's shoes, and you should be just fine. Oops, I almost forgot that I didn't switch that magic. If I would have accidentally cast Spectre there... So, using Fleet Magic costs you only 20. Using Spectre Magic costs you 50, so... You know, I've been talking plenty about how I need to be judicious with my MP in this section, so... Oh my god, Rox, don't do it. Don't do it, Rox. Okay, I am really dancing on the razor. Well, actually, it's not so bad, because we're going to hit a checkpoint soon. So, after that checkpoint, if I do accidentally die when I don't mean to, then the penalty is pretty light. But if I were to die before I get to that checkpoint, that would be real bad. Fortunately, being Slime Friend here makes getting through all of this very, very safe. Oh, no skeletons. Okay. That would be the concern, is if skeletons appeared on the screen, I guess 2 screens ago now. See, these guys just float along, don't do anything. We're fine. We're fine. And just a couple more screens to go here. And checkpoint. Okay, cool. We got a couple things that we want to do here, so we will do that. Actually, one thing really that we need to do here, just talk to another person to open up some future events. And after we're done with that, then we can move on here. Okay. Alright, let's see if we get Snaky Boy here. If we do... Okay, that's cool. We should just be able to do this. Pew pew! And he's dead. So that was the thunder magic that you just saw me use there. It basically kills everything on the screen instantly for the cost of only 20 MP, which is actually pretty nice, but only really useful... Well, I mean, it was nice to have it there, because I had the extra MP, but we really only, like, specifically use it there, or in one spot that's like, where it's kind of like, I won't say required, but it just makes things a lot better. No, that was just a town that if you wanted to go left or right, talk to people, do some stuff, you can, but we really, really don't need to. So I just walked straight up and through town. Yeah, 3 screens that just, or 6 screens that look the same. Alright, so she tells us about the cursed Nockmar Castle. Very spooky. So naturally we're gonna go check it out. But before we do, we need to do yet another death warp. Again, this is going to take us right back into this village, which is called Tiraslin. We just walk up straight through it. We don't need to do anything in here. But what we do need to do now that we've talked to that lady is come up into the fortress of Tiraslin and do some stuff. No. Okay. So those different colored ghouls can act... Those are actually really scary because their Empiggening spell lasts a lot longer than the other ones and can just make life really miserable. No, go away. Thank you. Oh, come on, get him away. Alright, so that's Eric. We don't talk to him. Instead, we fight this boss here, who hopefully is going to be nice to me. Oh, so rude with the fireballs. Stop it. If that boss decides to be nice, it doesn't throw any fireballs at all, and you can step onto a very specific area, slap him with your sword, and it dies very easily. Alright. So, into here we go. Lots of funny stuff happens in here. First of all, we get a little bit of a cutscene here. Ha ha ha, I am Kale, the General of Nockmar. We know. This is the 3rd time we've seen you. Okay. Now we go over and we talk to Mad Mardigan. Hey, Willow, we meet again, even though this is the first time we've ever spoke to each other in this run. So, yeah. The game was not counting on you doing all this stuff. Now here are the brownies that I mentioned earlier. This is Frangine and Rule. They're going to hook you up here because they're going to let you bust out of here. They're also going to give you the Powder of Love, which is a key item, I guess, if you want to call it, that we will use later on. But now that we can step out of this room, then we can use our fleet magic to get out. And then this next section is a whole lot of walking. So here we go. So there are those brownies again. Again, don't need to talk to them. Don't need to talk to them. Yeah, Jiggly, in this, even in the patched version, like the fights with Iborsisk, General Kale, and Bavmorda still have the flashing. But the deaths don't, and obviously that's the deaths don't, Fleet doesn't. To me, those are the big ones. So, whatever. Frangine the Wall Crusher. So for those of you that might not be familiar with some of the references here, there was a movie, it was like late 80s, it was this big, you know, fantasy adventure movie of the same name. The the titular character was played by Warwick Davis, of Wicket the Ewok fame, as well as some other things. I think he was in Harry Potter and Star Wars, and you know, other parts of Star Wars too. The swordsman Mad Mardigan was played by Val Kilmer, much to just about everyone's delight because he was like an icon back then. Whoops, there we go, and boop. And another one of my favorite facts about this movie is that there's another character. Her name is Sorsha, played by an actress called Joanne Whalley. She eventually, spoiler alert, becomes Mad Mardigan's, or Val Kilmer's, love interest. Now, Val Kilmer and Joanne Whalley had never met before doing this movie together, and there are scenes in the movie where they kiss, because, you know, there's a love story going on there and everything. So Joanne Whalley being the don't do it, oh, thank you, okay, whatever, let's boost our way through this. Joanne Whalley, being the absolute baller that she is, said, you know what, you know, after they got done with you know, shooting the scenes from Willow, she was like, you know what? I'm not done smooching Val Kilmer. I want more. So you know what she did? She married him. Let's see here. What do I want to do here? I want to quit this and this. So, shout outs to Joanne Whalley for doing what millions and millions of others wish they could. And she just kept smooching him after that because they were husband and wife, you know? Pretty cool. A lot of respect for her. Okay. Now, we're going to put this back on and... Boop. Joanne Baller, yeah. So now this is... I believe this is... Yeah, this is the last use of Slimy Boy. And this one is actually very, very necessary because we're going to get up to Nockmaar Castle here. It's going to be guarded by this big scary guard who looks at us and says, "Oh no, a monster!" and bails. What a sissy. So here we are in Nockmaar Castle. We're only going to be in here for a little bit. The jams are hot. I know you want more. And the nice thing is that I'm going to deliver. Because we will make a second trip into Nockmaar that will be even longer. For your enjoyment. Alright, so here's the other member of the Eagle Clan. He's like, yo, I recognize that sword. You want me to make it, like, destroy everything? And Willow's like, alright. And so that's what's happening. He's putting his strength behind the sword. So we're good. Alright. Go ahead and use the fleet to get on out of here. Immediately switch to the ocarina. Poe's gonna take us to Tirasleen now. Back to this town where we just... the uptown. Where we just go up through the town. What we need to do here is there's a little house that's in front of Tirasleen Fortress that has one more key item that we need in order to actually get through Nockmaar Castle. So we're going to collect that. Now remember, you know, I pointed out that General Kale introduced himself. We'd seen him 2 times before. Willow said, hey, we meet again, or Mad Mardigan said, hey, we meet again, even though we had never met. Remember I walked by that guy Eric in Tirasleen? Watch what she says. What? You've met Eric? Sure we have. Yeah, I remember Eric. He's a real swell guy. Anyway, because we've met Eric, she gives us the key to Nockmaar Castle, which unlocks a lot of the doors in it. One last trip with Poe. This time we're going to go to Nockmaar. That is our next destination. But before we go into Nockmaar, as has been thematic throughout the run, we need to take one more Death Warp here, because as you can see, our MP and HP are woefully low. So, really we're gonna... This Death Warp is going to teleport us really just 2 screens to the right, like where Poe dropped us off. But we're full on everything, so that's what counts. Alright, now we go through Nockmaar Castle in earnest. Also, enjoy the frickin' just absolutely awesome music in here. You know how you know this jam is like scorching hot? It loops really shortly and it's still awesome. Like, there, that's the loop. Another loop. It's pretty short, and it's still so good. It's just so good. Alright. So, we recognize Mad Mardigan. This is the Sorsha that I was mentioning before. Sorsha is Bavmorda's daughter. Bavmorda is our main antagonist and the final boss of the game. We're going to try to hit Sorsha with that Powder of Love. Instead we miss, and we hit Mad Mardigan instead, and he starts waxing all kinds of poetic about things, but fortunately it is effective enough that Sorsha's like, ah, wow, y'all are right. Alright, you know what? Here's what I want you to do. Go kill my mom. And so we will. But before we do, one more time, General Kale, he's like, alright, there's no invisible wall separating us now. Let's fight fairly. Alright, let's fight fairly by just kind of sticking you over here to our left, slapping you around a bunch, and we're done. Okay, cool. That was a fair fight. Gotta wait for all the experience to tick up. Like I said before, it's a little over 7,000, so we gotta wait here. Alright. Now it's time for hero jams. Like, this music just tells you, alright, the end is coming up. Bring everything you've got. It is time to fulfill your destiny. And fulfill it we shall. So, so at the end of this tower climb is the final boss fight. It's in 2 phases. In the first phase, when you're fighting Bavmorda, the only thing that does damage to her is those cane shots, those vicious bubbles of death. Now, every time you shoot a bubble, it uses MP. At level 13, you have just enough maximum MP to do enough damage to kill her. If you miss one shot where it gets absorbed or whatever, you cannot finish that phase, you have to die. Because I got to level 14, I've got 1 spare shot in case it gets absorbed, so just a little extra safety there. Alright, Bavmorda's like, okay, let's do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to move down here, face left, and then just bounce her back and forth with these bubbles. Now, okay, those fireballs that she shoots out, those will block your bubbles. So we wanted to be there's a very specific rhythm there to make sure that she doesn't absorb those bubbles. Alright, now we're into her second phase. It's basically the same thing, except now we can damage her with our sword. Oh god, get back here. Soon as her HP gets to 0, that's time. There we go. So that is Willow any percent. We're going to go ahead and watch the credits here so that you can kind of see some fun stuff here. And then I'm going to set up for something else that's going to be really cool. So, and so ended Bavmorda, the messenger of the skies, who cut ties entirely with the spirits of the skies. Only through the powerful magic of Finrazel, the birth of Elora Danon, and Willow, the man of courage and belief, was Bavmorda's menace thwarted. The spirit of the skies brought Bavmorda back to the sky. The people chose Elora Danon as their queen and lived happily, wishing for her wealth and happiness. And there we go. That is Willow any percent. Now, we've got a little extra time here to try and get back on schedule. So I'm going to give all of you folks a wonderful treat here with this game. Also, I see a considerable number of GGs in the chat, and I appreciate that. So thank you all very much for those GGs. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to take that funk that I was demonstrating earlier in the run, and we are going to give it steroids by way of a very, very interesting little trick here. So what I'm about to show you is what we like to refer to as debug mode. There's a specific password that we need for this. I do not have this memorized. Nor the route through it either, because there's some very specific stuff, and you're going to see what I mean in just a minute. Okay? Bear with me while I get this entered. So what I'm about to do in just a few seconds is I'm about to do a quote-unquote any percent speedrun of this game yet again. Now, you might be saying, okay, if you're doing an any percent run, why are you entering a password? That seems to, like, don't you have to start from the beginning of the game? Okay, here we go. Password entered. Here I am in the starting village of Nelwyn. In fact, I will take you back to what you saw when I started my last run, which is, this is Willow's. In fact, you know what? This is Willow's house. I'll show you here. You go in here. Here's your lovely family. That's your wife, Kaya, and his daughter, let me see here. His daughter's name is Mims, and his son's name is Ranan. So this is where you start the game, right? Okay, so I entered a password that took me to the starting village. As you can see, I'm at level 1. I have no swords. I have no shields. I have no magic spells. I have no key items. I have nothing. I basically have nothing. Or so it would seem. What I actually have now is this. Pressing the select key allows me to bring up, you see these two little pink boxes here? It might not be so easy to see, but in those numbers are coordinates. These coordinates correspond to this actual screen tile that I am on. What I can do here is I can actually change the values of these coordinates such that it allows me to teleport to any screen in the game at will. And this is pretty wild because what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat this game from beginning to end. Now, what did you see me do before? It was about an hour and 4 minutes. I'm going to do this in about 5 minutes. Now, checklist of things that we need to do here. In order to beat the final boss, we need the cane. We need to get the cane powered up. 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 We need to get the cane So we need to get to level 13, and we're going to need a sword to kill her in the final phase, right? That's all we got to do, okay? Are we ready? Are we ready? Because the funk is about to start in 3, 2, 1, now. Alright, so what I've done here is I've busted into the basement of Tirasleen. I've gotten the Wonder Sword. This is the second strongest sword in the game. We skipped it because we just don't need it in the regular run. So okay. This is going to be familiar. Spiky boss, no thank you. Go back in. It's our boy Kale. Okay, now we're going to equip that sword we got. And just like we did before, we're going to slap him around a bunch. Have mercy. Nope, skipped it. Come here to this screen here. Alright, now you're going to recognize it from the beginning of the game. Just these little slimy boys. Well, we're going to do our grind this way. One hit, they only do 2 damage, very safe. This is super nice. I only need to kill 6 of these. That was 3. There's 4. 5. And 6. Okay, cool. Alright, so we're going to move here, and we need to go to 14A. Alright, now. This is the cutscene coming out of Matanda Cave, where we talk to Shailendria. And she gives us the cane. Or, as I like to call it, the crooked stick. Unfortunately, no music, because you did not trigger the scene the way the game intended. As you can see, we still have the boss HUD up over in this cutscene. Alright, cool. Very good. We have the cane now. Alright, so now we need to come here to... Whoops, no. To number C6. Alright. So what we need to do... Let's take a little more damage, because we're going to do a death warp soon. But just like we did before, we need to wait until we're at level 13 before we can go in and... Because... You can't see the entrance here because the HUD is in the way. But in here is the entrance to go to see Finraziel. But we have to be at level 13. So that fanfare actually means you gain the level. Even if the experience is rolling, you've already earned it, you don't actually get the level until that number hits what it needs to in order for you to get to that level threshold. So the threshold is like 39,400 something. So it'll be coming up in just a few seconds here. There it is. Alright, so we're going in. Have the convo. There she goes. Finraziel. She looks a little different here. A little darker as far as lighting goes. That's okay. Still the same deal. Alright, we're going to come up here. Embrace death. Continue. Alright, now that we have everything we need, straight on in to good old Bavi. So here we go, final fight. Before we get started on this, gotta equip our magic and our sword, and then the same thing, just come here carefully. There we go. So that's the level 13 fight where you cannot afford a single miss. Okay, here we go. this cutscene here, which then sets up the second phase of the Bavmorda fight. There we go. Time. Right there. 5 minutes, 3 seconds. So, there it is. Willow beaten from start to finish. I literally started out with no items, no spells, nothing. And I was able to get everything I need and kill Bavmorda in 5 minutes. That's pretty wild, right? You must be thinking, oh my goodness. That is as much funk as you can get, right? It's not. Would you believe me if I told you that it gets even funkier? Because if you don't believe me, then I am here to tell you that your doubt is completely misplaced. We're about to turn this bad boy all the way up to 11 and hit you with some funk that you're going to be feeling for the next few days. Same password. We're doing the exact same thing, only only it's gonna get wild. Okay, are we ready? Alright, I'll start the timer once I pull up my coordinates. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see here, 17. We're gonna start out again, grab the Wonder Sword, which is nice. Alright, now we're gonna do another teleport here. That's what I want, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. And, whoa, Vonnie, Bavmorda, hello? What are you doing? You don't have level 13, you don't have the cane? What are you doing? This is madness. No, it's not madness. It's funk. We're gonna teleport right on out. As you can see, there's Bavmorda still flailing up there. And what we're gonna do instead is we're going to fight these guys. I have killed this slime. Now we have a cutscene. Come on down, do the same thing again. Kill these slimes. Hello. And time. Here's your ending sequence that I've shown you 2 times already before. So, what we did there is the exact same principle that we used before when we were doing that special grind with Kale. Was we went onto Bavmorda's screen, which activates her boss flag, and then by teleporting to another screen without killing her, that boss flag is still active. We then move down to a screen where enemies appear. That boss flag is assigned to the first enemy that appears. In this case, it's the slime that's in the rightmost slime in that screen that we get to. Now, triggering boss flags for Kale gave us 7,000 experience. Triggering the boss flag for Bavmorda 1 gave us the cutscene. Triggering the boss flag for Bavmorda 2 gives us the ending. There you go. Willow beaten in 1 minute and 26 seconds. So, I hope you really enjoyed that because it's some funky stuff and it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, it's great. I always love showing this off because I feel like people really dig it. I always love doing it myself. So But if you really enjoyed what you were watching here, if you enjoyed my commentary, maybe a combination of those things and whatnot, please do follow me on my channel. I would really appreciate having you come check me out and hang out with me in my own community. I do games like this all the time. These retro kind of action-adventure RPG speedruns. It's kind of my thing, so I would love to have you check out some more stuff. Speaking of checking out some more stuff, we're going to keep rolling with the RGL TV block, and I'm going to hand you on over to my boy, probably the chillest dude in all of retro speedrunning. That would be Infinite Mystery. He's got a couple games back-to-back that you're going to want to check out. So, again, folks, I really hope you appreciated what I was doing here. We got a whole bunch more great retro action coming up for you, so please stick around. Hope to see you around real soon, and until I do, take care, everyone.